It started as a quiet backyard pastime, a paddle, a plastic ball, and a few friends playing for fun. But in just a few years, pickleball exploded across America, turning driveways, tennis courts, and public parks into battlegrounds of a new sports craze. What was once a retiree's game became a nationwide obsession, drawing players of all ages and dominating headlines. But not everyone was cheering, from furious homeowners filing noise complaints, to lifelong tennis players demanding their courts back, to viral fights breaking out mid-game. Pickleball's rise hasn't come without resistance. Behind the rapid growth lies a growing list of conflicts, controversies, and community clashes. This is the full story. Every protest, every lawsuit, every time America pushed back against pickleball. 1. NYC Park Protests, the battle for public space. In a city where every inch of land is valuable and contested, even leisure becomes political. In New York City, where public parks serve as the lungs of the metropolis, pickleball's rise sparked unexpected chaos. At first, it was small groups, players with duct tape, portable nets, and a dream, transforming open basketball courts and unused park corners into impromptu pickleball courts. But it didn't take long before things escalated. Residents in Manhattan and Brooklyn began filing complaints, calling 311 about excessive noise, crowded courts, and unsafe conditions. Parents were upset their children couldn't use the playgrounds. Basketball players argued they were being displaced. What followed was a wave of protests, public debates at community board meetings, viral TikToks of shouting matches between pickleballers and locals, and even arrests in parks like Central Park and Seward Park. The Parks Department scrambled to find a middle ground, sometimes painting over the makeshift lines or assigning designated hours, but the conflict only deepened. For many New Yorkers, this wasn't just a debate over a game. It was a symbol of gentrification, privilege, and the fragile balance of shared urban space. And for the pickleball community, it was a call to defend a sport they felt was bringing people together. But in NYC, not even fun is free of politics. 2. Hoa CourtBans, pickleball versus the quiet life. Imagine living in a peaceful, gated community, manicured lawns, trimmed hedges, golf carts humming quietly past rows of identical homes. This suburban calm is carefully maintained by the invisible force of the HOA, the Homeowners Association. But then came pickleball, and suddenly, peace turned into paddles, and quiet turned into chaos. Across retirement villages in Arizona, Florida, and California, the once quiet neighborhoods were overtaken by the sharp pop-pop-pop of pickleballs ricocheting off paddles. Games started early in the morning, sometimes as early as 6 a.m., and continued until sundown. Retirees who just wanted to read a book in peace or take a nap found themselves under acoustic assault. Complaints piled up, lawsuits followed, and soon dozens of HOAs voted to outright ban pickleball from their shared amenities. In some cases, courts were dismantled. In others, nets were locked away. Tensions ran high during HOA meetings, where neighbors who had lived side by side for years suddenly found themselves on opposite sides of the paddle. Some residents argued for soundproofing or time restrictions. Others demanded total prohibition. These weren't just rule changes, they were personal. The situation raised bigger questions about rights, access, and who gets to decide what community really means. And in many neighborhoods, pickleball went from being a beloved pastime to the most controversial word on the block. 3. Tennis versus pickleball, the turf war. It was supposed to be a peaceful coexistence, two sports, two cultures, sharing the same court. But across America, what started as a space-sharing agreement between tennis and pickleball players has turned into an all-out turf war. Tennis purists argue that they've been pushed aside, their courts hijacked by a newer, louder, less technical game. "We've spent decades building tennis programs here," said one lifelong tennis coach. "Now we show up and can't even get a court." Pickleball players respond with frustration. "We're just as legitimate. Why should we be treated like second-class athletes?" In cities like Denver, Seattle, and Miami, this rivalry reached a boiling point. In one viral video, a tennis player was seen kicking over a pickleball net mid-game. In another, a group of tennis coaches confronted pickleballers in the middle of a match, demanding they leave the court. Some tennis clubs even filed lawsuits against local governments for converting courts without their input. It wasn't just a fight over space. It was a battle between tradition and change. Tennis, with its elite image and long legacy, was facing a cultural shift. Pickleball was fast, accessible, and attracting younger and more diverse players. And in this sports civil war, every paddle swing felt like a revolution. 4. San Francisco noise complaints, the sound of controversy. In a city known for its activism, innovation, and strong opinions, even pickleball managed to spark a movement. San Francisco, tech hub, political hotbed, and home to some of the most vocal neighborhood groups in the country, became ground zero for one of pickleball's most surprising battles: sound. It wasn't the game itself that bothered residents. It was the noise, the sharp, repetitive, high-pitched pop that echoes off paddles and court surfaces. Unlike tennis balls, which create a soft thud, the acoustics of a pickleball game could travel across blocks, bounce between buildings, and disturb homes far beyond the park. At Presidio Wall, Stern Grove, and Dolores Park, residents began logging official complaints. Some organized online petitions demanding restrictions or soundproof fencing. Others took matters into their own hands, blasting music to drown out the games, or even calling the police to break them up. City council meetings grew tense as citizens passionately debated whether the city should invest in noise-reducing barriers or ban pickleball in certain neighborhoods altogether. Experts were brought in to study the decibel levels. Laws were proposed. The Parks Department installed noise-reducing paddles in some areas. But even then, the controversy didn't stop, because in San Francisco, every issue is bigger than it seems, and even the sound of fun can spark a fight over the soul of a neighborhood. 5. School court removals. When pickleball meets education. It seemed like a win-win. Repurposing underused schoolyards for community pickleball play, encouraging fitness, and making use of public space. But what happened when parents, teachers, and neighbors said, "Enough"? All across the U.S., from Massachusetts to Oregon, public schools began seeing their basketball courts and gym spaces transformed into pickleball hubs, especially after school hours and during summer breaks. Nonprofit groups, local leagues, and adult players were eager to rent or use these spaces, but as demand grew, so did tension. In several districts, noise complaints came from nearby residents. They argued that the late-night games were disruptive and made the school feel more like a sports arena than an educational facility. Teachers complained that permanent pickleball lines interfered with other activities. Some parents raised safety concerns, saying adult players were entering school grounds unsupervised. The backlash led to court closures, revoked permits, and citywide bans on pickleball at school campuses. What started as a community partnership turned into a legal headache for school boards already stretched thin. For many, it raised tough questions. Should schools be community centers after hours, or should they prioritize educational use above all else? And once again, pickleball was at the center of a much larger debate about public space, responsibility, and respect. 6. LA zoning fights, when courts become a legal battlefield. In Los Angeles, even a game of pickleball needs to go through city planning. In a place where property value, zoning codes, and real estate rule everything, the battle over pickleball has taken a uniquely bureaucratic turn. As demand skyrocketed, ambitious plans emerged to build dedicated pickleball courts in residential neighborhoods, school lots, and even rooftops. But as soon as construction began, backlash followed. Homeowners sued the city over zoning violations. Environmental groups protested deforestation in park areas. Noise complaints stalled permits. And in some cases, courts that were already built had to be torn down due to overlooked code restrictions. In Brentwood, a high-end neighborhood known for its quiet streets and celebrity homes, residents filed an injunction to prevent the city from opening new pickleball courts, citing increased traffic and community disruption. Meanwhile, in East LA, communities demanded more courts and equal access, sparking accusations of favoritism and inequality in how court locations were chosen. City council members were caught in the middle, trying to balance urban development with neighborly peace. Hearings became heated, with passionate testimony on both sides. And once again, a simple sport became a battleground for class, politics, and policy. 7th, Wimbledon Backlash, when tradition met disruption. Wimbledon, the sacred lawn, a place where tennis isn't just a sport, it's a legacy, a ritual, a symbol of athletic elegance. But even here, the ripple of pickleball was felt. And not everyone applauded. It began quietly. A few comments from retired tennis legends, a cheeky mention on BBC about the pickleball invasion. Then came the headlines. Former champions and purists began voicing concern that the rise of pickleball could threaten the prestige and resources of traditional tennis. At an event held on the outskirts of Wimbledon in 2023, a celebrity-endorsed pickleball tournament drew unexpected attention and even mockery. The backlash wasn't just about sport, it was cultural. Wimbledon represents discipline, class, heritage. Pickleball, by contrast, was painted as a casual, noisy upstart lacking dignity. Traditionalists scoffed at the idea of mixing the two in proximity. Commentators openly debated whether pickleball was a fad or a threat. Even within Britain's tennis ecosystem, debates sparked over funding. Should taxpayer or club dollars go toward building pickleball courts when historic tennis programs were already struggling? While no official bans were placed, the message from Wimbledon's inner circle was clear. The All England club wasn't ready to roll out the green carpet for paddles just yet. 8. Celebrity court drama, paddle fights, and paparazzi. In the age of celebrity, nothing goes unnoticed, and pickleball quickly found its way into the limelight. From Malibu to Miami, stars like Leonardo DiCaprio, Ellen DeGeneres, the Kardashians, and even Tom Brady publicly embraced the game. But when celebrities build pickleball courts, it's not always applause they receive. In several high-end neighborhoods, Beverly Hills, Calabasas, the Hamptons, residents began filing legal complaints against A-list neighbors for installing private pickleball courts that disrupted the peace. In one case, a former sitcom star allegedly built a court without a permit, drawing lawsuits from 3 neighbors who claimed their property value was ruined by the constant noise. Paparazzi caught feuding neighbors arguing across fences. TMZ reported on HOA violations involving celebrity paddles. And then there were the parties. Celebrity pickleball nights turned into raucous events with music, lights, and all-night games, angering nearby homeowners. Some communities pushed back, demanding limits or restrictions on court hours, even forcing celebrities to tear down luxury courts they'd just built. Pickleball became more than a hobby, it became a headline. And as stars picked up paddles, America watched drama unfold not on the court, but around it. 9. USTA versus pickleball, a silent civil war. The United States Tennis Association, better known as the USTA, has governed American tennis for nearly a century. But when pickleball exploded into public consciousness, the response from tennis's top institution was cautious at best. On the surface, the USTA maintained a diplomatic tone, calling pickleball a complementary sport and expressing openness to multi-use facilities. But behind closed doors, things were more complicated. Tennis coaches and clubs reported funding cuts as local governments redirected resources to build pickleball courts. Junior tennis programs found themselves squeezed out of schedules, and in 2023, leaked emails suggested frustration within the USTA over how quickly municipalities were converting tennis courts, often without formal consultation. In interviews, some USTA officials admitted they felt blindsided by the rapid shift in public interest. Others warned that if the trend continued, tennis could lose an entire generation of players, yet they hesitated to confront pickleball openly, fearing backlash from younger athletes, media outlets, and communities seeking cheaper, more accessible recreation. So instead, the USTA began quietly lobbying for zoning protections, exclusive funding for tennis-only spaces, and educational campaigns to protect the future of tennis. While not an open war, the rivalry between the two sports had clearly reached an institutional level, and the quiet power struggle continues behind the scenes to this day. 10. Mayor Eric Adams' court limits, NYC's pickleball crackdown. When New York City Mayor Eric Adams stepped into the growing noise surrounding pickleball, it signaled just how serious the debate had become. With city residents divided over the sport's rapid expansion in public parks, it was only a matter of time before City Hall weighed in. In 2024, amid escalating community complaints about noise, crowding, and illegal court markings, Adams announced new limits on when and where pickleball could be played in city parks. A new permit system was introduced. Courts were restricted to certain hours. Unauthorized pickleball markings were scrubbed off with power washers, and in some neighborhoods, courts were removed entirely due to resident pressure. The decision drew mixed reactions. Local pickleball groups accused the mayor of bowing to elite homeowners and stifling community engagement. Longtime tennis players applauded the move, calling it a return to balance. Park officials were caught in the middle, tasked with enforcing complex new rules while trying to maintain peace between battling sports communities. Mayor Adams, never one to shy away from controversy, framed the restrictions as a compromise. "Pickleball has a place in our parks," he said, "but so does order and respect." Still, for many in the pickleball community, it felt like a political defeat and a reminder that in America's biggest city, even the joy of sport can be regulated. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. Think tennis, but smaller, quicker, and way more addictive. Played with paddles and a plastic ball on a compact court, it's fun, easy to learn, and competitive at every level from backyard games to pro tournaments. This is Pickleball Explainer, your go-to channel for everything on and off the court. Subscribe and stay in the game.